afternoon. Anybody there? There we are. I pinned a link to our website and the links that we've got, so you can go on there to have a look at everything we've got in the live today. So when you pop on, say hello. Hopefully you can see all right. Hi Annette. I assume you meant to say hello rather than hell. I hope you're not in hell. How is everyone? Are you well? Today, what's the weather like? Nice and sunny, or dull and gloomy like it is in Wales? Well, South Wales anyway. Hello Ian. Ian's watching from downstairs. More afternoon, Ruth. Oh, hello Jackie. How are you? How you doing? Long time no see. I've seen you for ages. Bits of glitter on my card. Predictive text. The joys of predictive text. Hello Tina. It wasn't my birthday, it was Ian's birthday. I'm doing it today. Hi Annie. Hello Jenny. Oh, hello Leslie. Rainy London. I'm glad we're not the only ones with rain and gloomy days. Hopefully this will brighten it up a bit. Hi Donna. Jackie says it's raining. You're in London as well, aren't you, Jackie? Afternoon, Judith. How are you? Yes, I heard you were suffering, Jackie, so hopefully, glad to hear you're getting better. Hopefully you're on the mend, keeping safe. Yep, if you can share it, that would be fabulous as well. If you can share the live either on your own timeline, share it in any crafty groups that you're a member of. That would be fabulous, as long as you're allowed to share in their groups. Yeah, invite any friends to watch it as well. That'd be lovely. Yeah, it's not too bad, thank you, Judith. A bit fed up with all of this palaver now, but hopefully the end is in sight, and we can start getting back into the shop properly and start doing classes again, because that's what we miss. You seeing all our lovely customers. Oh, Ruth is in Cheshire. Sun peeping through. Sun? What's that? Oh, and Annette's just outside London as well. Marvellous. So, what time is it? Oh, there we are. It's just gone to... So, thank you for joining us again for another live. Jackie was allowed out on Tuesday. Way! So, yeah, I'm going to be showing the Cosmic Shimmer, the new Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Sparkles today. Hello, Sarah. These fab. I love them. I know, Annie, it's a shame, isn't it? But there we are. Can't do anything much about it. At least we'll be able to get back into the shop soon, hopefully. Yeah, so the Pixie Sparkles, these are new out. They're very similar to Pixie Powders. So if you've got any Pixie Powders, they're very similar. You can do exactly the same sort of techniques. Hello, Sarah. Sarah Ridgway. Yeah, you can do all the same techniques with the Pixie Sparkles as you can with the Pixie Powders. The only difference is the Pixie Sparkles, they're in a slightly different bottle. with a different lid, and you'll actually notice when you actually start using them, they've got the really fine powder with the mica in, and the powder is sort of coloured, so it does sort of burst a bit like the Pixie powders do, but they also have slightly thicker pieces of mica in them as well, so you can actually sort of see it sparkling a bit more than just the Pixie powders. And the other thing I noticed as well about these, I don't know, I think it might be because there are some bigger particles in there. The colours seem to come out a bit stronger as well, because I always found with the Pixie powders, sometimes it was a bit too subtle. Thank you, Jenny. Don't look at them because they're all falling to pieces, but they've been on a few days. But I'll just show you the nice ones. My left hand isn't too bad. It's my right hand that you don't look at. So the colours do tend to be a bit stronger, which I like. I prefer the stronger colours. So yeah, that's why these flowers here, which I've done with the Pixie Sparkles, you can see the colour is a lot stronger. Oh yes, well, yeah, I'm sort of coordinated on that one, aren't I? Not so much on the card I'm doing today, but hey ho. But then I do like my purples. Yeah, so so the card I've done today, just talk through it quickly. Just move my mat. So I've got everything prepared, because a lot of the stuff that I'm using is stuff that needs time to dry. I should have stuck this down really. So obviously I'm not going to sit and wait for the texture paste to dry on the background there. So I've pre-done that, but I'll go through and show you how I did it, just so that you know. So surprise, surprise. Hello, Helen. No problem. So yeah, surprise, surprise. I've used my. You're probably getting bored of this now, but I love this die set. This is from Sentimentally Yours, Stately Collection, double debossed rounded corner rectangles. So I've used those on mainly everything. I've made the card blank with the third size in, and then I've basically just gone down in sizes. So I've done the black layer in the next one down, and then I've done my next layer, which has got the texture paste on, in the next size down, and then this sentiment bit in the middle. I've used, which one have I used? 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one from the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've used this fifth one here, and that's for that. But it's up to you. You know, I mean, you can go bigger, you can go smaller. I did want to do a DL one, and I have actually ordered Sue Wilson's new slimline dies, which are hopefully coming in today. She'll be with us today at some point. So this would be nice, I think, on a DL card as well. So I'll probably do something like that and maybe post it on Facebook when I've done that. Yeah, so those are the dies that I've used to make my card blank and everything. Ooh, someone's asking a question. Judith, could you add mica powders to the ordinary Pixie powders to get a shimmer effect? The ordinary Pixie powders, the Pixie powders we've had before, they have mica in them as well, so you still get a shimmer. So you don't really need to add mica powders to the Pixie powders, because the Pixie powders already have mica in them. It's just the Pixie powders are more powdery, so it's a much finer powder, whereas the Pixie Sparkles have got chunkier bits of mica in them as well. I don't know if you can see actually. Let me have a look. You might be able to see actually. Where are we? You might be able to see. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's more like a fine glitter rather than the Pixie powders, which is more like just a really fine powder. So yeah, you probably can see a little bit in there. So the only other thing to say, I think I've opened all mine now, but when you get yours, or if you've already got any, the first thing you need to do is you need to unscrew this lid, and there's a protective cap on the top there. You just peel the protective cap off, and then screw the lid back on again, like so. All right, and I think they do also say to give them a bit of a shake before you use them. So just shake them up. I think it's because it's got bigger chunks of mica in there. They might end up sort of working their way to the bottom. So if you give them a little bit of a shake before you actually take the lid off, it might help to release some of the goodness. So this background I've used texture paste. So I've actually used, oops, I'm getting a bit wonky here. I use my texture paste underneath my tablet actually to keep it upright. Yeah, so I've actually used, this is the soft white texture paste by Cosmic Shimmer, but I have ordered some of the clear texture paste, which will also be in today, and I would prefer actually to use the clear, I think, because I mean the white is quite nice, but you do get the white effect. And I've actually, if I show you this one that I've done, this one I've actually done, this is my sort of prepared one for today. I've actually used mirror card instead of just plain white card, but because it's white texture paste, you can't actually see any of the mirror card through it. You can see around the edges, but you can't see through it. Whereas if I'd used the clear texture paste, you would be able to see some of the mirror card colour coming through it as well. If you had a pink colour or whatever, that would sort of come through as well. So that'll be quite interesting to see the effect that I can make with that. So keep your eyes on our Facebook page, and if you've bought anything from Valley Craft, then you can join the Valley Crafters private group and share all your makes in there, and we tend to share things that we've done in that group as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I did my texture paste background. So I'm going to try and be nice and tidy with this as well, because I need to wipe this off before I can use it again. So all I've done is I've used a Hot Stuff non-stick mat. You can either use a non-stick sheet like this. If you've got one of those oven liners, that's something else that you can use. You could use a glass cutting mat. If you've got a glass cutting mat, that's the word, isn't it? If you've got one of those, you could use one of those. It's just basically to protect your kitchen, your table, whatever table you're working on, because you don't really want to mess up that. And the thing with the texture paste as well is they do tend to dry. So if you're not quick, they tend to dry quite relatively quickly on your tools. So I've got a palette knife here that we do stock, and then all I've used as well is just a you could use like just a plastic loyalty card, or anything like that. We did have some of these in the shop a while ago, and we were giving them out to customers. So anything like that, or if you've got the proper scrapey tool, you could use that. Anything like that is fine, but it will dry on the card. So don't use your best credit card or anything like that, because it might not work again. So all I've done is I've got my piece of mirror card. I thought I'd go with mirror card this time. On this one, I used our 300 gram pick a mix card. So just a 300 gram uncoated card is fine. And then on this one, I used a matte mirror card, sort of a pinky lilac-y colour matte mirror card. And then on this one, I'm using just a plain old silver mirror card, just to see how that comes out as well. So I'll show you the technique. So this is the texture paste. Comes in a big 150 milliliter pot. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew it. This one we've used quite a bit, so it is well loved. And then I'm just going to get some of it out. Try and some of it's there is some dry bits in there, so I'm just going to be careful not to grab any of the dry bits out. And then just take it out with my palette knife and just smear it over the top of my piece of mirror card, and then I've just taped it down with some low tack stencil tape. So this is the one that we stock. We haven't actually got any in stock at the moment because for some reason everyone decided they wanted it a couple of weeks ago, so we've got to get some more in. But low tack tape. If you've got masking tape, some masking tape might be a bit sticky. That's the word. So you do need quite a low tack tape, really. I mean, there is the Crafter's Companion low tack tape that you use for sticking your dies down when you're die cutting, oh dear, my brain's not working today. The 3M the Scotch tape, that's the one. Scotch tape is another one, but they're a bit more expensive. So if you can get hold of a cheaper one, I'd use a cheaper one, because all you're going to do is just chuck it out. So I've just put it along the top. I'm just going to use my little scrapey tool and just scrape down and just fill in all my gaps. And this is just no idea where this stencil came from. It's just a nice bubbly stencil, but you could use any stencil you want. Doesn't matter if you go over it a couple of times. I quite like the rough texture that you get when you're doing this. Obviously, if you want to keep it really nice and clean and flat, then you can get some wider scrapey tools. So there we are. So that'll do, I think. It doesn't matter. I don't mind that it's all rough. It won't show very much. And then I'm going to scrape the excess back into my pot, so you don't waste any of that. And then I've got a little bowl of water down by the side of me. If you're doing it yourself, you can just go straight to the sink and just wash it straight in the sink, which is what I tend to do. But obviously I'm not going to do that today, because you'll have to sit around and amuse yourself for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to chuck those in my little bowl of water and leave those to soak. And then it'll be the same when it comes to what am I doing? It'll be the same when it comes to my stencil as well. Get some kitchen towel ready. So, which colours shall I use today? Right, on the first one, I think I used which one did I use? I think the first card that I did, the sample card that I've got here, I used Beyond Blue, Purple Affair, and then I think I also used Teal Marine. Right, let me just adjust this quickly. There we are. So sorry for the wobblies. So that's what I used on the first card, and that's what I actually used in the background as well. So it's a little bit subtler in the background compared to on the flowers here. And the second one that I used, which was these ones, I think I used the blue, the Beyond Blue, the Teal Marine, and then I also used the Zesty Lime on that one. Oh, hello Peter and Dorian. So this time I'm gonna go Groovy Grape. Ooh, shall I go all pink, or shall I go? Oh, see, the Pale Blush is quite a nice one, but it's quite a subtle one. Coral Crush is a nice one as well. I think I'm gonna go for that. Purple Affair, Coral Crush, and Groovy Grape. So then all I need to do is just give them a little bit of a shake, just to make sure that any little bits of mica, chunky mica, are moved around. Take the top off, and then it's just a case of turning it over and just tapping all the way over your stencil wherever you want. You can tap on the side, you can tap on the bottom, give it a good slap. It's entirely up to you. But because it's, like I said, because it's a bigger mica, bigger powder, it does tend to come out better, I think. It does tend to be a bit more obvious. Give this one a bit of a shake quickly. Hi Alison! Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to share, everyone. Ooh, this is a lovely colour, this is. Nice strong purple colour, this one. I do like my purples. My favourite colour. And then, shall I go? Yeah, I'll go Coral Crush because it's a bit of a different one as well. So. No problems, Alison. Alison's babysitting. Oh. So easy to do this is. You really can't go wrong. It's just slap it on and just see what happens. You can put as much or as little as you want on. You can build up layers as well with all of these. So if you find that it's not quite as strong as you wanted it to be, then you can build up extra layers. So that's that. Because the texture paste isn't particularly wet, it's not actually activating very much. So I need to give it a quick spritz with my little spritzer bottle with just plain water in that. Just give it a bit of a spritz. Try not to spritz it too much. I'm going to put a little bit more on, I think, because... Ooh, I think my Creative Expressions order has just arrived. Woo! A bit more of that. That's the thing, you can just add whatever you want. And the other thing you can do as well is you can, maybe not so much with the texture paste version, but when I show you how to do the flowers, you can build up layers by putting the Pixie Sparkles on, or Pixie powders, whichever, and spritzing, and then drying that layer off, and then adding another layer on afterwards. So so you can build up layers that way as well. And then the other thing to remember as well is once you put your layers on of your Pixie Sparkles and you're happy with it, is to take the tape and the stencil off more or less straight away, because the texture paste is going to start drying. If you leave it on like that, then you'll end up, the stencil will end up being stuck. So you need to make sure that you take your tape off. And then that'll go straight in the bin, that will, because it's all, you can't reuse this. It's all a bit messy. Ooh, Peter's having a sneaky peek at the frogs. Oh, isn't that typical? If that had come 5 minutes ago, I could use this. Thank you, my beautiful assistant here. This is the clear texture paste, which has just arrived. So so I'll put. It is on the website, but I haven't put the stocks on yet. So I'll put the stocks on. So if anyone does want to order it, they'll be able to order it after I've finished doing the live today. Yeah. So this is the clear version. So I will be using that. Be interesting to see how that works as well. Ooh, and we've had the Sue Wilson slimline dies in as well, which I'm very excited about. I'm really into DL cards at the moment. Apparently it's all the craze at the moment is DL cards, and I think it's because I got the everyone's following me. That's what I think anyway. Well, so I'm just going to carefully peel that off there. Ta-da! So this, you can then wash it straight under the tap. It looks pretty like that, doesn't it? I mean, if you wanted to save that, you could obviously put that on another piece of card and transfer it over. That'd be quite nice. But I'm just going to chuck it straight in my water so I don't get too messy. Ooh, I do like that on the silver mirror card. It's nice, that is, isn't it? And then just be very careful that you don't put your fingers in it because it is going to still be wet at the moment. And then once it dries, that's when the actual mica starts to shimmer a bit more. Oh, I think I prefer the silver. Ooh, what do you think? Oh, that's a good idea, Annette. Annette's sorting through a craft stash to donate things to a care home in Cumbria. That's a nice idea. That's fab, that is, isn't it? Ooh, I do like that. There we are. So then put that aside. I wouldn't advise, thank you, Jenny. I wouldn't advise heating it with a heat tool or anything like that. Just leave it to the side, probably for at least a couple of hours. I tend to leave it overnight just to be on the safe side. Thank you, Judith. My colours, I love those sort of colours. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so I'd leave it overnight, and then you're not going to have any worries about sticking your fingers in it and messing it up or anything like that. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Peter. So I shall stick that well over the panel so I don't stick my elbow in it or anything. And then I'm just going to give my mat a quick spritz because the texture paste is water based. The Pixie powders, Pixie Sparkles, they're all water based as well, so you haven't got any worries about how to clean things. Just have to be a little bit quick with your texture paste because it has started to dry a little bit. Because this is one of those hot stuff mats, it's not going to, even if it does dry on there, you can still scrape it off, so you know it's not the end of the world, you're not going to ruin it. So bear with me 2 seconds while I just give this a bit of a clean. And the other thing as well I would advise, ooh, people are talking, is to use, if you've got a cloth that you use to clean your stamps normally, make sure you use a different cloth to the one you use when you're cleaning your Pixie powders. Otherwise you'll end up getting Pixie powder, mica powders on your stamps, and then they won't stamp properly. How do I know this, you ask? There we are, so that's nice and clean. My hands aren't, but sounds bubbly. Oh, is that because I was using a bubble stencil? Frogs, Sarah says. Ah, yes, Sarah. I will be showing you those at the end of the live. Yeah, so there we are. So that is sorted. So now I'm going to show you how I do the flowers. So the flowers, all I've used is a piece of 200 gram card. I use 200 gram because with flowers, sometimes if you use a thicker card and you try and shape them, it can crease rather than bend, if that's the word. So I tend to use, so 200 gram, 200, 250 is, you know, a nice sort of thickness. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's just perfect for doing this. And the other thing I'm going to do as well, which I saw from, I think it was Jamie Rogers, who demonstrates for Creative Expressions, because he's got some videos on YouTube and he's been on that television channel that I'm not going to mention. But he had a really good technique, because quite often with pixie powders, when I've spritzed the paper or the card, it tends to roll up. So what he does is he gives one side of the card a bit of a spritz, turns it over, stick that down onto your mat, and then spray this side that you're working on, and then your card tends to stay flatter. It's brilliant. It's magic. And now I can't remember which colours I used. Those ones, wasn't it? Yeah. So I'm going to use the same colours. So I've just spritzed it lightly with my spritzer with some water. And I'm just going to go over exactly the same as I did with the texture background, and just sprinkle my Pixie Sparkles all the way over. You can. This is an A4 sheet, so I'm going to just do a full A4 sheet. I'm not going to use the whole A4 sheet for my flowers, although I've done the flowers anyway in advance. But you can do it on an A5 sheet if you wanted to. But I think, well, if I'm getting messy with, I like this one, with the Pixie Sparkles, I might as well do a full sheet, and then I can either cut loads of flowers out, ready for lots of cards, or I can use one side of the card for flowers and then the other side for a background or something like that. Oh, Jenny's lunch is ready. What are you having, Jenny? Or is she already gone? Lunch at 2:30? Dear, dear, dear. And then this is the Coral Crush I'm putting on now. So I've spritzed the paper, the card. I keep calling it paper. I've spritzed the card already. So some of it has started to react with the water, but there's still some sort of drier bits. So I'm just going to go over and spritz it. Need more strength. Need more. Sometimes it's, if you spritz it, then it starts bursting, and then it sort of gives you more of an idea of any areas that you need more colour in, or if you find a certain colour is too strong, then that's when you can add a different colour. So that's quite a lot of the Purple Affair. Groovy Grape. Sprinkle some more of that on around the edges to try and get some of those bits. So as you can see, there's absolutely no skill involved in this at all. It's just a case of just chucking it on and spritzing it. My kind of craft. And every time you do it, it's going to be different. So, which is a good thing as well, I think. It's nice to have a bit of variety, isn't it? And you've got a nice combination of different colours there. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah, it's 8 different colours at the moment. I don't know if they're going to be bringing out any more. I wouldn't be surprised. And then the more you spritz it, the more it's going to burst and spread and everything like that. Facebook, you're playing up, going bubbly a little bit. Oh, I don't know why that is. Strange. No, exactly, Sarah. No skill at all. There we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to put that to the side, out the way. If you wanted to, you could use a heat tool to dry that. But because I'm going to be, I'm not going to be using this in today's card. So I'm just going to leave that to the side and just let it just dry naturally. But if you wanted to, you could give it a blast with your heat tool. But you'll see that the card, even though I spritzed it quite a bit, the card doesn't tend to roll up very much. It tends to stay flat on the mat. Flat on the mat, which is good. So I shall carefully take, if I just lift this up, I can show you. Ooh. So as it dries, that's when the mica will start coming out, and the thing, yeah, so you can move it around, move the colours around as well. But I'm just going to move that to the side, carefully. And what did I say not to do? I said don't stick your finger in the texture paste, and I've just stuck my finger in the texture paste. Typical, isn't it? Well, so nice clean table. Bring that on so you can see. So so the one I actually did previously, this is the one half of it that you can see. So you can actually see when you start to move it, you'll see the mica's glistening. So once it's dry, that's when it starts. That's when the mica colours really start to come out. You can still see the colours in there, but the mica colours just really stand out and just catch the light, which is lovely. Oh, Annie's asked, how long does it take? How long does it take naturally to dry? I assume. Yeah, it's probably a couple of hours. It's just so that the water can evaporate more than anything. So it depends on how warm your room is. But yeah, a couple of hours I'd leave that. The texture paste one I would leave overnight, just because it's texture paste and it's a bit thicker. But this is because it's just water and the Pixie Sparkles. Just a couple of hours will be fine. Usually I can't wait, so I tend to blast it with a heat tool, which is what I did with this one. But I'm not going to do that today. Yeah, so one half of the piece of card that I had was that, and then the other half I've die cut all my flowers out of the other half. So it's 2 A5 sheets more or less. Yeah, so that one I can use. I can cut it down into strips and use that on something as a nice border. I could use it as a background. I could just cut some more flowers out of that if I wanted to. You know, there's all sorts of things. All sorts of things you could do. They are nice colours, aren't they, Annie? But I prefer the purples. Yeah, so all I've done with this is I've actually die cut, and I've actually used the, again from Sentimentally Yours, I've used the Romantic flower dies. So obviously you can use any die you want. And I've done 4 flowers with 3 different sizes in each flower. So I haven't used the biggest one, I don't think. I think I used that one, and that one. I've cut that out twice, those 3 out twice, and then that is my 1 flower. So that comes out like that. And then I've also used that one, and that one, and cut that out twice. And I've done a second flower that is slightly smaller than the first one. But it's up to you. You could do more layers. You could do, you know, if you use a different dye, then your flowers would look a bit different as well. It is magic, Alison. It's magical. There we are. So I think it's more chemistry, isn't it, than magic? But there we are. I'm no good at chemistry either. There we are. So that's what I've done. I've cut those out of my die cutting machine. And then if I can quickly show you, so I've done 2 of the bigger ones, and I'm in the process of doing 2 of the smaller ones. It's 2 of the slightly smaller ones. So all I've done is I've just got the 3 die cut layers, and I've just offset them against each other using my fabulous High Tack All Purpose Very Sticky Glue, because this stuff is amazing. And then the only other thing I've done to shape the flowers is I've just used a, you can use a bone folder or something with a flat end on it, and then just hold the petal in the middle and then just give it a bit of a curve. So I went all the way around each of the 3 layers to do the curve, and then I've just used my this is the Crafter's Companion flower moulding tools, I think it is, that we do have some of. They come with, I think it's 3 tools. You get 3 different size tools, moulding tools, so they're fab for all sorts of different size things, and then you also get the foam mat as well. This one, sometimes it can be a little bit too squishy, so what I've done here is I've actually used the mat from my Press to Impress. So, or you could use a mouse mat if you've got a mouse mat. This was actually a spare mat that we had from the Press to Impress stamping tool. But it's quite a dense foam. You could use funky foam if you've got anything like that as well. It's just a firmer foam. And so it works well for flower forming. Oh, there's a lot of F's in that, isn't there? So then all I've done is I've just given that a bit of a poke in the middle just to lift those petals up. And then a little bit of glue just in the centre. A little blob like that. And then just put this in the middle and offset it against the previous layer. Give it a little bit of a push, wait a couple of seconds. This glue grabs really quickly though, so so that's that. And then the last thing that I did to finish off my flowers is I've used some of the rainbow pearls. So we've still got some of these, I think, in stock. If you click on the link that I pinned and click on the option for craft tutorials, products used, I think it is. Then in today's category, the rainbow pearls are in there. Or just type in rainbow into our website and it'll come up. I've got an itchy nose now. And then all I've done is I've just used one of my pearls. Now, which size did I use? Get my fabulous pokey tool from Sentimentally Yours as well. A little bit of glue in the centre there, and then grab one of these and pop them in, and then give it a gentle push just to make sure that the glue adheres to the pearl. And then I've done exactly the same with my other 3 flowers there. So on my first card, a couple of the flowers I actually did do the use my thingy tool, my scoring tool, to actually roll over to shape the petals. These 2 I actually left. I just pushed in the centre and didn't actually shape them because I wasn't quite sure which way I prefer. I think I prefer it when you do shape it. Actually, just seems a bit nicer. But it's entirely up to you. It's personal preference, like everything else in craft. You do what you want, as long as you're happy. Yes, I don't know what this tool is called. I think they call it a pearl or gem picky up tool or something or other, because it's got like a wax picky up bit on the end there. Really useful tools, that actually. You can pick up your fine die cuts with it as well. So, but just be careful if you've got any of these that, for starters, you don't keep it in a warm place, because this is wax and it'll melt. And secondly, don't use too much pressure on the end of it either, because it's wax, you might end up squashing it. So it's nice to keep a little bit of a point on there. So yeah, so as long as you look after it, you'll be fine. So put those all to the side. And then I will bring in all my elements, I'm also going to stamp my sentiment as well. So I'll bring in my stamping tool, my fabulous Press to Impress. Can't live without this tool anymore. Well, I certainly can't, especially with doing demos, because I'm never a particularly confident stamper. Can't go on with this. Really can't go on. So as I said at the beginning, that's my card blank. So all I did was I took an A4 piece of card, scored it down the middle at 15 centimeters, and then I used my, if I show you, I used my Sentimentally Yours rounded rectangle die, which I think was the third one in, and then I've got a nice oily print on the front there, but that's going to be covered up, so that's right. And then all I did was I folded it in half, and I actually positioned the die over the top, and I made sure that the left-hand side cutting edge was beyond where the card had been scored and folded. So obviously then that means that part won't cut, but the other three parts will cut. And you may have to put it through your machine quite a few times, like I did, because obviously it's going through, this is 300 gram card, so it's obviously going through 600 gram card, and these dies are just standard craft dies, so they're not really designed to go through really thick materials, but so you could use that. You could use just a card blank, just fold a piece of card in half. You know, there's all sorts of different ways, and then you can just adjust it to whatever you've got. So that was the card blank there. Then I've got my piece of black, because you know me, I love my black mats. I always like a nice black mat. I just think it makes the colours pop. Just looks really nice. So that's my black mat, which I'm going to stick onto there. And then I've got my slightly smaller textured mat, which I'm going to stick onto the top of that. And then I've also got my other piece of white card that I've die cut out of the, I think it was the 5th die from the centre, wasn't it, I said? And I'm going to stamp on that with my happy birthday stamp. So you could use any happy birthday stamp. Oh, where is it? Oh, I remember where it is. It's in my stamp storage book. Oh, that wasn't planned at all. Let me just get my nice stamp storage book out. Anyone that's followed our Facebook page will have seen that I shared Hazel Eaton from Dragon's Paper Crafts. I shared her video of how to make stamp storage folders. Amazing, can I just say? Loved it. So I followed her tutorial video to make some stamp storage folders. I've actually sort of adapted it to my own preferences, and I've made a couple of different sized ones as well, because this one is for my Julie Hickey stamps, which most of them are A6, some of them are A7. So with the A7 ones, I actually put them up in my little leaves, in my little folder. This one I've actually done. I actually used Pixie Sparkles on this as my topper. So this one is actually a little bit, it's more or less the same size, it's just a little bit taller. And the reason for that is because I put my Sentimentally Yours DL stamps in there. So it needed to be a little bit taller for that. And you can see it's my Sentimentally Yours because I put Sentimentally Yours DL stamps, and I've stamped some of the stamps onto the topper as well. So I will be posting just a little one-page thing with dimensions and the sizes of my tabs, because they're all just a little bit different. And then I've also done one for my Sentimentally Yours A6 stamps, again using the Pixie Sparkles. So this one is for my A6 stamps from Phil, Sentimentally Yours. So I've got all of those in there at the moment. And then there's room, there's more empty leaves at the back. And then obviously if you leave the back one plain as well, then you can just add as many leaves as you want. I think I'm probably only going to put 8 in each of my books, because I've got 4 tabs, and then I'll do another 4 tabs, and that will be about as thick as I go, because I don't want it to be too thick, because it's just going to get a bit silly then, isn't it? Yeah, so this one is slightly smaller, as you can see. So I've done that one, I've done one for my DLs, and I've also done one for my Julie Hickey ones, which is more sort of probably not A5 stamps, because they would, with the packaging, it would be a bit bigger. So I'm probably going to have to do one that's a bit bigger for those. But these are brilliant. I love these. Really good way of organising everything. Oh. Have you not seen them, Sarah? Yeah, they are amazing. Really love these. Yeah, I've put it on our Valley Crafters, and it's also on the Valley Craft Facebook page. I've shared the tutorial from Hazel from Dragon's Paper Crafts as well, so you can find it on there as well. So I was looking for my stamp, wasn't I? Yes, my happy birthday one. So I love this happy birthday stamp from Julie Hickey. So I'm just going to get that out. I tend to like to leave everything in the packaging as well. And the other reason I leave it in the packaging and actually stick that to my card, leave things, my pages, is because sometimes stamps can lose their stickiness. Like I think this one is a little bit dodgy. Whereas if I stuck it straight in there without putting it in the packaging, if I then lifted it up and one of the stamps fell out, you might end up losing a stamp. So I thought if I leave it in the packaging, then if it does slip, it's always going to stay within the packaging, so you're not going to lose it. So there we are. So that's why I did that. So I'm going to use my happy birthday. I love this stamp set. I really do. The stamp and die is lovely. Not sure if we've got it in stock at the moment, but if anyone does want it, just let me know, and I'll order it when we do another Julie Hickey order. Because she does have a new range out as well, so we'll probably be getting some of those in. I doubt if we'll be getting... we'll get the full range, but not as many as we got last time. There we are, and put some of my magnets here and there. I like this one because it's a nice jaunty angle as well. You've not seen these storage solutions, Peter? Are you sure about that? How many have you done now, Peter? Loads. So I'm just butting it up to the top left. So if it's always a good idea to butt it up to the top left of your stamping press. I mean, I've got the magnets there anyway to hold it in place, but sometimes with stickier stamps, sometimes when you stamp it and you lift it back off, sometimes the card can move. So if it does move, at least you know, as long as it's butted right up to the top left, you're not going to have any problems. So Ian's always telling me to make sure that I do that. So yeah, so that's one for Ian. Yes, most of the stamp storage folders are made out of 300 gram. Our 300 gram pick a mix card, which is the same card that I use for the card blank, and the same card that I use for this as well. Yeah, so it's a good card, that is, good all round card. Oh, you've only done 4? I've done 3. I've still got lots more to do, but I was concentrating on getting my live sorted for this week, first of all. Yeah, so I'm just inking my stamp up with VersaFine. Just light taps over the stamp, and then bring it across, and then give it a gentle press all over, and just leave it to leave the ink to soak into the card. because I've used a stamp press, if I've missed any bits or if anything doesn't quite stamp properly, it's not the end of the world. I can just re-stamp it. So that's what I love about this tool. Yeah, see, like in the middle there, you'd be like, oh no, I've messed that up now. But you can actually see that there is still some ink on the stamp. So all I haven't done is just, I haven't pushed in the centre enough. So there's no need to re-ink, just make sure that you push in that area. And then if I did want to make it a little bit stronger, which I think I will do, I am going to give it another ink. So it's a stronger impression. That'll do. And bring it back over. Card didn't move, so I don't need to worry about positioning at all, he says, hopefully. I do like this font, it's really nice. And it's got a coordinating die with it as well, so you can die cut it out. I think we've used it in a previous live anyway. I'm sure we've used it in a previous live, at least one. There we are, so that's a bit better. So take that out. And the only thing to be careful with VersaFine is because it's an oil-based ink, it will stay wet for a little bit longer, so just make sure that you don't smudge it while it's still wet. And then what I tend to do to clean my stamps, because I always clean it straight away afterwards, is I've just got a scrap of paper here. I tend to blot off the excess. Yeah, Annie likes his stamp set as well, don't you? The stamp and die. It is nice. So I tend to blot off the excess, you'll get a little bit on there. And then I use my magic cleaning fluid just to give it a bit of a clean. So this is the Archival ink cleaner. Don't have to just use it on archival inks, obviously you can use it on any inks, but it's a really good all-round cleaner. And it smells lovely as well. Oh, I love the smell on it. Yeah, Archival ink cleaner. We should have just had some more back in today with Creative Expressions. So so if it says out of stock on the website when you order, it won't be for long. I'll put the stocks on when I sort the order out in a minute. So then just give it a couple of seconds just to work its way in, and then just give it a wipe with an old tea towel or microfiber cloth or anything like that. Try not to use wet wipes because they're not good for the environment and they've got plastic in them, so don't use wet wipes, peeps. Even the biodegradable ones are no good because it's still got to degrade. Just use something that's reusable. And then the last thing I do is I always give it just a quick spritz with water, because it does say to rinse your stamp after you've used it, just to make sure that there's no chemicals on the stamp and it's nice and clean then. And this stamp cleaner, you can use it with all types of stamps as well, because some stamp cleaners are too harsh. You can't use them on acrylic stamps specifically. But this stamp cleaner you can use with acrylic stamps, photopolymer stamps, rubber stamps, anything like that. So just take a couple of seconds just to give it a clean. And as long as you look after your stamps, they're going to last you a long time. There we are. So that's that on there. And of course, once I've finished faffing around, then it'll be, my stamped image will be nice and dry then as well. There we are. So pop that back in there. Yeah, so that's the die that coordinates with it. What's it called? Signature Happy Birthday Stamp and Die Set, that is, from Julie Hickey. There we are. So that's my Julie Hickey stamps in my little stamp storage folder, so I'll put that to the side now. And then there's my happy birthday. Yeah, I've just told you, Donna, where it's from. Which one it is. I don't know if we've got any stock though. So have a look on the website and see. So the other thing I'm going to do as well, before I stick this on, do I stick it and glitter it, or glitter it and stick it? I think actually I might stick it and glitter it. Yeah, like I did on the first one, because otherwise I might end up putting my fingers in it. So now I'm just going to make up the card. So I've got my card blank and my piece of black. What did I use for this? I used this glue, I think. You could use your all-purpose glue. If you've got Sentimentally Yours PVA glue or anything like that, you could use it. I like to use this one, this high-tack glue. And the good thing about this high-tack glue as well is the fact that it's got a silicon bung that goes on the end. And because it's a silicon or rubber bung, whatever, I don't know, a rubber bung it might be, because it's got an airtight bung, the nozzle never, ever, certainly in my experience, never bungs up, never clogs up. So yeah, so it's really good, because quite a lot of glues I've found that the nozzles do tend to block up. But this one, you don't have to poke a tool down it or anything. As long as you put your bung on when you've finished using it, that's all you need to do, and it stays airtight then, and doesn't clog. So just gonna put some glue on the back of this. Grabs really quickly as well, but it does give you a couple of seconds. Yeah, I can't remember if I put the stamp and die set, that one, in today's products or not. But if not, if you go into Julie Hickey Stamps or Julie Hickey Dies on the website, it'll be on there. Yeah, so that is that. And then I'm going to raise this up in the centre. So I'm just going to use some foam pads on the back of this. Let me just make sure, where's my little scrap of paper. I'm just going to give it a quick blot just to make sure that it's dry. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than messing it up once you've stamped it. So I'm just going to put some foam pads on the back of this. Like that. And then I'm going to stick one in the middle, just for extra support. Oh, hi Judith. Oh dear. That's fine, Judith, not a problem. You can always watch it back, either on Facebook, or we'll upload it to our YouTube channel as well. So yeah, there's always different ways of watching these back afterwards. And I think this is our 48th video that we've done. So let me just position that. I'm going to just put it in the centre, I think. It goes quite nicely in the centre. Yeah, I think this is our 48th video that we've done. So you can watch all 48 either on our Facebook Live group page, or on oh dear, my brain really isn't working, or on YouTube. That's the one. There we are. So that's that on there. So now, before I put my flowers on, I'm just going to do a bit of glittering around the edge of my happy birthday, because I just think when I did the first card, it's like I just need something else in there. So so down. So the glitter I've got, we can't get any more. This was a Flower Soft glitter, chunky glitter, but we do have a chunky glitter. Well, not a chunky glitter. Quite a relatively fine glitter in the shop, which I think is on the link. Or we do just a plain iridescent glitter as well. That will be a nice one as well. So if you've got anything like that. And then all I'm going to do is just use my PVA glue and just go around the edge. And because this is the double debossed one, that you can use that as a little bit of a guide as well about where you're actually going to put your glue. So so that's quite handy. So just don't have to worry too much about how rough it is, because of the chunky glitterness. It's all going to blend in anyway. So I'm just going to go around with my glue. Just do a couple of sides first of all. And then I'll do the other two sides. So I've got my piece of paper just to catch. Oh, that's the one thing I haven't got. I had a nice little spatula-y thing. Let me just grab that. Yeah, I have one of these, which is like one of those ice cream thingy. What's it? It's quite nice because you can just use that to sprinkle your glitter. Still goes all over the place, but hey ho. And then work around this bit. Doesn't matter if it gets picked up by any of the texture paste bits. I mean, it shouldn't do because it's all dry now, and either this one. But if yours isn't quite dry and it gets picked up, then brush it after. Give it a bit of a brush. So that's two sides, and I'll do the other two sides. So you can see it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be too precise. Just work your way round carefully. Because it's quite a chunky glitter, it sort of hides any dodgy bits. Not that there are any dodgy bits on here. Oh, they've come in, have they, Ian? The other glitters? Yeah, because we did order some other glitters and they went mysteriously missing. The courier lost them. So I think our suppliers sent some more out again for us. Thank you, Dawn. Glad you like the card. Oh yeah, yes, that's all. That's in today as well. Oh dear, I don't know what my excuse is then, Judith. Because I'm hopeless with my memory as well. But yeah, it is good. That's the thing. You could use it as a resource then, you know. So it's, or if you're just stuck for inspiration and you just think, oh, I need to do a card, but I don't know what to do, then just, you know, have a look on our channel, whatever, and get some inspiration from that. There we are. Screw that back on before it goes everywhere. And I've got a little bit of glitter on my table now, so I'm going to have to use my little vacuum cleaner, aren't I? My new little vacuum cleaner. There we are. Nice and clean. This is the John Next Door desk vacuum. We've got them in blue and pink. Really cute, aren't they? Yeah. So we just had those in as well. There we are. So I'm just going to get a little brush and give that a little. Should have done that before, really, shouldn't I? But there we are. I'm just going to brush some of the excess glitter away. It's just lying around. This is probably just because it's mirror card and it's probably extra staticky or something. There we are. So that's that sorted. That's the side. And then the last thing I need to do is just put my flowers on. So I've got a couple of flowers. I mean, you could leave it like that if you wanted. No reason why not. But I'm just gonna. I'm going to be using that all the time now because it's fun. It does look a bit like an Echo Dot, doesn't it? Oh, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, coordinates. Right, so yeah, so what I've done, what I decided to do was just to put, because I got 4 flowers, so I've got a big one, I've got 2 big ones and 2 smaller ones. So I'm going to put a big one and 2 smaller ones down the bottom, and then I'm just going to put a big one up the top left. So not too over the top, not like Phil tends to do sometimes. He goes way over the top with his flowers sometimes, I think. But there we are, each to their own. So I'm just going to put one up the top there and then put the others at the bottom right. There we are. So if I go for my smaller one first of all, stick that one on. So again, using my fabulous all-purpose glue. That one I'm going to stick up there, so it's actually on the topper. And then I'll put my bigger one a bit further down, like that. And then my other little one to the left. It's always a good idea to do things in odds for some reason. They always say that it's best to do it in odds, so never do just 2. Do it in odds. So 1, 3, 5, whatever. There we are. So that's grabbed nicely. See if you've got any swirls or anything you wanted to put on. You could do swirls. You know, there's all sorts of different things you could do with that. But there we are. So that's my finished card. So, oh dear, I'm trying not to mess up my glitter. So the glitter around the edge, I think, just adds a bit of extra interest. Just makes it look quite nice, I think. Otherwise it looks a bit plain. Yeah. So that's my 2 finished cards. Are they centered? But you can do different colours, you can do different shapes, you know, different, if you use a different stencil in the background, you know, that would make all the difference as well. So there's all sorts of different things you can do just to make it your own which I'm sure Annie's the sort of person who would love to do your own thing on it. Annie likes to sort of take our ideas and then just adapt them, which is, you know, is brilliant. That's what everyone should do, I think. You know, if you struggle with designing cards yourself, then just, you know, take someone else's idea and adapt it. Just make it your own. There we are. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you like the cards. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, everyone. And before we go, I'm going to show you the new froggies that we've had in. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Judith. So I shall just pop those out of the way for a little bit. And let me just grab stuff that we've got. Obviously, everything that's new on the website, that's new in the shop, you can look at our website. So just click on the link at the bottom, the Linktree link, and then you can click on the new products one, or new arrivals, or something or other it says. I think it's new arrivals. And then everything that's new in the shop will be in there. So the Sue Wilson Slimline dies, they'll be on later on this afternoon. The texture paste, I'll put the stocks on as well this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. But this is just very quickly, this is the new the froggy stuff that we've had, froggy themed. We thought something a bit different. So this is designed by Amy Design, which I'm not sure if it's a don't know where she's from. It's Swedish or, you know, that sort of Holland. There we are, probably from Holland. So something a bit different. I've never seen anything like this before. So we've got all sorts of different froggy themed things. So anyone that likes their frogs, or, you know, needs to make a card that is froggy themed, then, you know, this will be perfect. So we've got Tree Frog. We've also got, I'll just quickly show you, we've got a group of 4 frogs. They are held by a thin piece of metal, so all you'd need to do is just snip the little thin piece of metal out of the way, and you could use them separately if you wanted, or you could leave them together if you wanted. So yeah, so that's that one. There's the frog pond, so there's all sorts of different things on there. You've got the lily pond, the lily pads, you've got the frogs, and oh, there's all sorts of things on there. Really cute. Oh, I like the leaping frog. He's fab, isn't he? There we are. This is a nice one as well, a frog frame. I like that. You've got a couple of frogs on there, and then you've got a nice frame, which would be nice for. Ooh, can you imagine using the Pixie Sparkles with like a frog, and use all the balloons and make a nice sort of froggy scene? That would be nice. A nice a watery scene. That would be quite nice, wouldn't it? We've also got a set of stamps as well. Nice big set of stamps. All sorts of different froggy themed things on there. Tadpoles, frogs, dragonflies, you know, all sorts of stuff on there. Yeah, Ian likes the frog frame. We've also got a paper pack, so a pack of 6x6 papers to coordinate. 23 sheets, 2-sided, 170 gram. So that's quite nice. Some nice designs on there. I like those. And then for anyone that doesn't do die cutting, if you prefer to do good old-fashioned decoupage, then we've got a couple of different decoupage sheets as well. So we've got, where does it say the name? Does it say the name of that? Don't think it does it? No. Oh, there's a piece of paper in the back there. Yeah, so they are die cut as well. They're all die cut, so you don't need to snip around them or anything. And they're numbered as well, so you can see which number goes on top of which is good. So we've got that one there. They're all on the website though. We've got that one there. Ooh, that's a nice flower, isn't it? We've got that one there with the cute little frogs on. And then we've also got that one there with the frogs and flowers. Which is good, isn't it? There we are. So that's just a quick sneaky of those products that we've just had in. So they'll be on the website, and Sue Wilson's Slimline Dies will be on the website later on this afternoon as well. and I'll put the texture paste on there as well. So so we'll have that back in stock, which is good. I'll probably use some of the texture paste, the clear texture paste, just to see how that goes, and I'll post a photo on our Facebook page just so that you can have a look at that as well. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us, everyone that's ordered or popped in for contactless pickups. We're still doing contactless pickups every Monday, Thursday and Saturday in the shop. So you can place your orders on the website for store pickup. It doesn't cost any extra. And then you can pick your orders up anytime between 10 and 12 on a Monday, Thursday or Saturday, as long as we don't have it. And we sell by courier, so there shouldn't be any problems with that. Never had any complaints, so if you'd like to order anything, then you can order on the website. The postage charge is £2.99 if it's under £40. If it's over £40, it's free delivery as well. Bargain. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for all your comments. Don't forget to like and share if you haven't already done so, and if you're watching on YouTube, if you can like and share the video on YouTube, that would be fab. And if you also subscribe to Valley Craft, then you'll get notified whenever we have any new videos uploaded as well. Thank you for sharing, Judith. Lovely jubbly. Thanks very much, everyone. Stay safe. Hope you're all well, and hope you're all getting vaccinated, and we're on the way out of this nightmare situation. But summer's coming, so stay positive, keep crafting and carry on. Take care, everyone. Bye.